I spent 7 years trying to outrun my anxiety. Therapy. Medication. Meditation apps. Breath work. Journaling. Nothing worked. Then I found a 2,000-year-old Stoic exercise that asked me to do the one thing every instinct told me not to do: sit down, close my eyes, and deliberately imagine the worst things that could happen to me. And it changed everything. Now, if that sounds insane, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand something about your own mind that most people never figure out. And you'll have a simple 5-minute exercise you can try tonight, one that people have reported feeling the effects of within a single week. But first, you need to understand why everything you've been doing about your anxiety has been making it worse. Here's what most people don't understand about anxiety. When an anxious thought enters your mind, say, the fear that you'll lose your job, or that something terrible will happen to someone you love, your first instinct is to push it away. You tell yourself, don't think about that. You distract yourself. You scroll your phone. You do anything to escape the thought. And it seems logical. The thought causes pain, so you avoid the thought. Simple. Except it doesn't work. It has never worked. And in 1987, a psychologist named Daniel Wegner proved exactly why. Wegner conducted a now famous experiment. He told participants one simple instruction: do not think about a white bear. That's it. Just don't think about a white bear. What happened? They couldn't stop thinking about it. The more they tried to suppress the thought, the more aggressively it returned. Wegner called this ironic process theory. Your mind assigns a monitoring process to watch for the very thought you're trying to avoid. And that monitor, by its very nature, keeps summoning the thought back into consciousness. Think about what that means for your anxiety. Every time you tell yourself, stop worrying, you are programming your brain to worry more. You are feeding the exact monster you're trying to starve. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years before Wegner ever ran his experiment. And they developed the opposite approach. The ancient Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum. In Latin, it means the premeditation of evils. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Every morning, before the day began, a Stoic practitioner would sit in silence and deliberately visualize the worst things that could happen. Not vaguely. Specifically. Seneca wrote about this with startling clarity. In his letters to Lucilius, he said, we should project our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind every possible eventuality instead of only the usual course of events. He wasn't suggesting pessimism. He was prescribing a mental vaccine. Think about it. A vaccine works by exposing your body to a small, controlled dose of the very thing that could harm you. Your immune system encounters the threat in a safe context, learns to recognize it, and builds resistance. Premeditatio malorum does the same thing for your mind. You expose yourself to the feared scenario, deliberately, calmly, on your own terms, and your brain learns that the thought itself is not dangerous. The fear begins to lose its grip. Not because you avoided it, but because you walked directly into it and survived. And this is where it gets interesting. Because this wasn't just some abstract philosophical exercise. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, Emperor of Rome, used this technique before every major decision he made. Every battle. Every political negotiation. Every morning. In his private journal, a book he never intended anyone to read, which we now call Meditations, Marcus wrote this to himself: begin each day by telling yourself, today I will be met by interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. Now, read that again. This is the most powerful man on earth, writing in the silence of his tent, preparing himself for the day by. Imagining the worst of it. He wasn't being negative. He was being strategic. By rehearsing the difficulties in advance, he stripped them of their power to surprise him. And a fear that cannot surprise you is a fear that cannot control you. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher who was born a slave, put it even more directly. He said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." Your anxiety is not caused by the event you fear. It is caused by your belief that you cannot handle the event. And that belief thrives in darkness, in the murky, unexamined corners of your imagination. The moment you drag your fear into the light and examine it with clarity, something remarkable happens. It shrinks. Now here's the twist. Here's the part no one expects. Modern neuroscience has confirmed exactly why this works, and the mechanism is almost shockingly literal. Your brain has a structure called the amygdala. It's your threat detection center. When you encounter something that might be dangerous, a loud noise, an uncertain future, a social situation that could go wrong, your amygdala fires an alarm. Cortisol floods your system. Your heart rate spikes. You feel that tight, electric dread in your chest. That's anxiety. And here's the key, your amygdala cannot tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. This is exactly why anxiety spirals are so powerful. Your brain treats the worst-case fantasy in your head as if it were happening right now. But, and this is crucial, this same vulnerability is also the doorway to the cure. Research published in the journal Neuron in 2010 by neuroscientist Elizabeth Phelps and her team showed that when subjects deliberately and repeatedly visualized a feared scenario in a safe environment, their amygdala's response to that scenario diminished over time. The brain literally rewired itself. The technical term is fear extinction learning. But the Stoics had a simpler name for it, practice. This is also the core principle behind exposure therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most evidence-based treatments for anxiety disorders in modern psychology. The parallels are not coincidental. Albert Ellis, the founder of rational emotive behavior therapy, openly credited Epictetus as his primary influence. The Stoics didn't just stumble onto something that works. They built the philosophical foundation that modern psychology later rediscovered. So now you understand the science. You understand the philosophy. Let me give you the protocol. This is the 5-minute exercise you can begin tonight. And I want you to take this seriously, because this is not a thought experiment. This is something you do. Here's how it works. Step 1, sit somewhere quiet, either first thing in the morning or just before bed. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow breaths. Step 2, ask yourself one question. What is the worst thing that could realistically happen to me tomorrow? Not the absurd. Not the impossible. The realistic worst case. Step 3, visualize it happening. In detail. Not with panic. With curiosity. Watch it unfold like a scene in a film. Your boss criticizes your work in front of everyone. Your partner says they need space. You check your bank account and it's worse than you thought. Let the scenario play. Step 4, and this is the most important step, ask yourself, then what? What would I actually do? Not what you'd feel. What you'd do. Because here's what you'll discover every single time. You'd handle it. Maybe not gracefully. Maybe not perfectly. But you'd survive. You'd adapt. You'd figure it out. You always have. Step 5, open your eyes. That's it. 5 minutes. What you've just done is told your amygdala, I've already been there. I've already faced it. There's nothing left to ambush me with. And when the actual day comes, and it is almost never as bad as what you imagined, your nervous system is calm. Not because nothing bad could happen, but because you've already rehearsed your response. You've already proven to yourself that you can cope. Seneca said it best, the man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. Now, let's step back. Let's connect all of this. Because the deeper lesson here is not really about anxiety at all. It's about the relationship you have with discomfort. Most people spend their entire lives building walls between themselves and anything that hurts. They avoid hard conversations. They refuse to think about death. They numb themselves with noise and distraction so they never have to sit alone with an uncomfortable truth. And it works, for a while. But the wall doesn't keep the pain out. It keeps the pain in. It traps it. It lets it grow in the dark, unnamed and unchallenged, until it becomes this ambient dread that follows you everywhere and you can't even remember what you're afraid of anymore. The Stoics proposed something radical. They said, tear down the wall. Look at the thing directly. Name it. Examine it. Sit with it until it becomes familiar. Because familiarity is the antidote to fear. You are not afraid of what you understand. You are only afraid of what you refuse to face. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire ravaged by plague, war, and betrayal, and he did it with a steadiness that historians still marvel at. Not because he felt no fear, but because he met his fear every morning before it could meet him. And that is the secret that changes everything. Anxiety is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a signal that there is something you haven't faced yet. Something you're running from. And the moment you stop running, the moment you turn around and walk toward it with your eyes open, the chase is over. Not because the threat disappeared, but because you did something far more powerful. You proved to yourself that you don't need the threat to disappear in order to be okay. Try the exercise tonight. 5 minutes. One worst-case scenario. Follow it all the way to the end. And then ask yourself the only question that matters: could I survive this? You already know the answer. You've survived everything so far. Every single thing that ever tried to break you, you're still here. The Stoics didn't teach people how to feel nothing. They taught people how to fear nothing. And it starts tonight. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Stop suffering twice. Suffer once, on your terms, in your chair, with your eyes closed. And then walk into the world with nothing left to be afraid of.